Down goes Nidoqueen. It's now 2 Shield Walrus versus the Wild. We get the Powder Snow farm down. Back out comes the Dugong. We've got 2 shields. You know we're calling the bait. The opponent lowers our attack. We're yet to see the third. We need to be mindful of the attempted catch. There is the catch. This Trevenant is not going to appreciate the loaded Walrus. We land the Icicle Sphere. We can now 1 shield Powder Snow farm all the way down. And Walrein now smelling blood, looking to sweep. Guess who's back? Yes, I'm back. It has been a huge break off YouTube. I think I've made 1 upload in around the last 2 weeks, and that is because my sister did get married in Cyprus. I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone for the messages and support. However, I'm not just back. These Pokemon on the left, both Nidoqueen and Walrein, did get nerfed. They then got buffed, and we're about to see them back in action. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see a neutral lead Nidoqueen into a Azumarill. We're going to throw the Poison Fang on 7 for optimal move timing. Poison Fang now does more damage and Azumarill shits their pants, putting up a shield. We are going to return the shield. Not only does Poison Fang now do more damage, it still has that defense debuff. You can see Poison Jab tearing through Azumarill. I can't get the Poison Jab farm down, so I'm going to catch the double resisted Ice Beam on the big fat Walrus. Ice Beam does absolutely nothing. The opponent now switches out into Stunfisk and hashtag there's no baits on this channel. But does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Walrein completely one-shots back out. Comes Azumarill. That gets Powder Snow farm down. Altaria in the back, and that's going to be game over. Getting straight into the next battle, you might be wondering, where is the 3-2-1 countdown? Well, I was having loads of issues trying to queue up for battles. I kept getting kicked out. I don't know if that's because I was playing in Cyprus on my 4G, or perhaps the game is trash. I'll let you decide. But either way, we led Nidoqueen into Whimsicott. The opponent switched out into Lantern, and I answered with my rank 1 Shadow Sableye. Despite playing these games somewhat hungover, you can see I'm always looking to CMP tie Lantern. Believe it or not, counting to 5 with a huge hangover is harder than you'd expect. Switch advantage in this battle is not very important, as both Walrein and Nidoqueen really want to feast on that stupid Whimsicott. So I allow myself to lose switch advantage. We come back into Nidoqueen, get the Poison Jab farm down, and we've got a running start. The opponent sends out Scrafty, and despite losing switch, we've got the alignment that we want. We're going to lower the Scrafty's defense with the Poison Fang Poison Jab, now absolutely tearing apart this fighter. But as always, needs to pull its fucking trousers up. The opponent's still hanging on to 1 shield, and I imagine this is where they're going to invest it. As expected, Scrafty does invest the final shield. Nidoqueen has done its job, and Walrein's now cleared to sweep. Power Up Punch does get the knockout. 1 Powder Snow farms down Scrafty. Back out comes Whimsicott, and the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see another one of the channel's favourite Pokemon, the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death. Not really, I absolutely hate this thing. We get some stutter lag, however we still got off the Poison Fang. The opponent bangs the energy and switch out into Lapras. And stay in school, kids, learn to count. We farm up some energy, count to 4, catch the surf on our Walrus, which is most definitely no longer extinct. The buff to Icicle Sphere has now made Walrein a top meta threat once again. As the opponent's already down 1 shield, there's no chance they're going to shield this. We go straight for the Earthquake. We don't quite get the knockout. The opponent makes 1 final surf. However, Walrein will survive. They're now so low, I'm going to look for the resisted Powder Snow farm down. If Talonflame does return, I'm going to throw 1 Powder Snow, as I don't think I'm going to survive the Incinerate and get off my Icicle Sphere. The opponent now all shields down. This Talonflame does have 80 energy, they're now at 100. However, I throw 2 Poison Jabs, get off the Poison Fang before the opponent can fire off that energy. The opponent still doesn't throw, they go down at 100 energy, and they've got the Grass Snake in the back, and this is going to be game over. We lower their defense with the Poison Fang, show them the Sableye, and the opponent can throw whatever they like. We're going to save 2 shields for next season. The opponent goes for the Aerial Arse, and that is an absolute arse move. And that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Toxicroak, another Pokemon that has been buffed this season due to the Mud Bomb buff. We are resisting the counters, however Toxicroak's so attack weighted, we near get 1 shot with the Mud Bomb. However, we do survive. Toxicroak, my good friend, you will not. The opponent does shield up the Earth Power, a good shield from the opponent. We now come in to Sableye. Have I learnt my lesson? Seeing that Mud Bomb does a lot, I'm going for the no shield, and ouch, that hurts. I'm going to look to Shadow Claw farm down before the next move. We do get it, but we're now deep in the red. The opponent sends out a Azumarill. I'm going to chip them with a foul play. This will pretty much put them into Earthquake range with the additional Powder Snows. The opponent's final Pokemon is Jumpluff, and I've got no idea why the opponent switched. I think it's a classic case of you switch, I switch. The opponent commits the final shield. I'm definitely going to start shielding my Walrein. We shield up the Energy Ball. The opponent doesn't get the debuff. This double super effective Icicle Sphere going to be more than enough to take care of Jumpluff. Back out comes Azumarill. We aren't in play rough range yet, however I still have one Protect Shield remaining. I doubt they bait the first time. We shield up the play rough. We're going to then throw at good time, and I'm going to throw 4 Powder Snows and the Earthquake. Earthquake going to get Azumarill so low. As always, 2 turn versus 3 turn. You want to throw at 1, 4 or 7, or in this case, we're just going to throw the Icicle Sphere and take that game. Moving on to the next one. Big yikes, dreadful lead. We pivot into Sableye. The opponent sends out Clefable, and this looks like RPS for the win. However, not in my favour. We throw the Power Gem. Power Gem does land. As this opponent is running Fairy Wind, I can actually take back Switch, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. We shield up the Meteor Mash. We get the Shadow Claw farm down. We are down a shield, but we do beat a Fairy with Sableye, which is pretty interesting. I did throw 1 Shadow Claw and the foul play. However, I'm unsure if that was the end of the air slash animation or they actually got 2 air slashes. So now I'm really confused at where their counting's at. We do get off the second foul play. We get our shield back. However, the opponent does now air slash farm us all the way down. However, they are now deep in the red. I've got no idea what's in the back, so I'm just going to tank this move. The opponent does full send the Brave Bird, and that does big damage. The opponent's final Pokemon is Swampert. And this is where you should recognise team comps. If you see Skarmory in the lead, of course it's going to be Swampert in the back. So I think now I'm going to have to make a swap to win this game. We throw the Icicle Sphere. We do draw the final shield. The opponent spammed the Hydro Cannon the first time, so I completely sacked the Nidoqueen. Hydro Cannon doesn't one-shot us. They're going to mud-shot, farm us down, and I'm going to concede the match. GG's to that opponent. Another dreadful lead. However, I think the first time Nidoqueen got access to Poison Fang when it was only 35 energy, it was an absolute menace. I've never been a big Nidoqueen fan. However, I think this season it's pretty balanced. I did instantly retreat into Sableye. People that have got access to debuff moves like Icy Wind often shield the first move. That's exactly what this opponent does, and we're not sitting in the best spot. Due to the opponent lowering our attack with the Icy Wind, you can see that even Shadow Sableye can't two-shot. This newly buffed Quagsire with double foul play, the opponent smartly no-shields both moves and they mudshot farm us all the way down. We're going to come into Nidoqueen, use it as a damage sponge. We're going to hope the big fat walrus can sweep. The opponent's going to be forced to dump all of their energy. We're saving 2 shields for walrus and we're going to pray. Walrein comes in, gets the Powder Snow farm down, back out. Comes Dugong, we've got 2 shields. I dare the opponent to throw the Drill Run. Of course they go for the Icy Wind bait, and of course my huge cojones are going to call that. The opponent attempts to catch an Earthquake on Trevenant, and I think not. We are now going to be permanently stuck with this debuff, as we can't reset it. However, we did land the Icicle Sphere. I'm going to commit the first shield on the Seed Bomb, and we're going to commit to the Powder Snow farm down. The big fat walrus now, smelling blood. Back out comes Dugong, and despite me practicing my masturbating this season, I full send the Earthquake, and again the opponent shields. We're getting pretty close to Drill Run range. The opponent's already masturbated once, and we call the masturbate the second time. This is now going to allow me to go straight Earthquake, and I should be in a prime spot to sweep. Earthquake, even double debuff, does huge damage. This is going to be yet another Icy Wind, but of course I am going to have to shield, as that would be enough to knock out from this range. We land the final Earthquake, and Walrein sweeps the entire team. GG's, and thanks for playing. We see another Toxicroak in the lead. We do know we survive a Mud Bomb, so I'm going to no-shield and look to play out the zeros. The opponent goes straight for the Mud Bomb. Nidoqueen going to be left deep in the red, and the question's going to be, does this opponent respect the damage? We go straight Earth Power. The last opponent shielded. This one does not. We win the zeros. They now send out Excadrill. Excadrill hits like an absolute truck, but just look at this Shadow Claw damage. My god. I'm really unsure how I want to play this matchup out at this stage. I'm thinking, do I want to double shield and Shadow Claw farm it all the way down? And it looks like that's what I decided to do. Is that the correct play? I'm unsure, but I'm going to go for it anyway. The opponent sends out Hypno. And despite them being up 2 shields, they're very quickly going to be giving them back. We land the first foul play. I then throw one Shadow Claw. So you just want to throw on odd numbers here. 2 turn versus 4 turn. We get both Protect Shields. I'm going to look to catch the move onto the Walrus, despite it sweeping the entire team in the last battle. I think a damage sponge is going to be its best use in this game. We look to throw on the CMP tie to the next move. Icicle Sphere doesn't knock out. We get the CMP. This Thunder Punch is going to return Walrus to our Pokeball. The opponent attempts to make a catch of their own. We Shadow Claw down the Excadrill. Back out comes Hypno, and we're going to throw the Power Gem just for a BM. GG's. Moving on to the next one. Lead Nidoqueen into Trevenant. We've been buffed, they've been nerfed. However, have they really been nerfed? So Seed Bomb does now do more damage, however it does cost more energy. I think due to all the ice types, Trevenant is more viable, as I've seen hardly any flyers this season, especially a lot less knocked out, which does mean Trevenant is somewhat better. The opponent then safe switches into Vigoroth. I didn't switch out, so I don't really know what I'm doing at this stage. We throw the Poison Fang, lowering Vigoroth's defense. We then come in to Sableye. I am going to respect a potential Bulldoze. While we're on the subject of Vigoroth, shout out to my home slice homies teammate Firestar, who rode Vigoroth all the way to top 8 in one of the Play Pokemon regionals. We throw the foul play, getting rid of Vigoroth. Speaking of knocked out, oh hello old buddy. This opponent is running knocked out, so I'm going to look to throw the Power Gem on the CMP tie. This will either do big damage or force the final shield. The opponent does put up that final shield, and now Walrein is all we need for victory. Sky Attack doesn't quite take us out. I aggressively switch in to Walrein. I am going to shield up the Seed Bomb, as it would do objectively more than anything Knocked Out can throw. We can then Powder Snow farm them all the way down. When Knocked Out does return, we've got the double Icicle Sphere locked and loaded. The first one isn't going to knock out because this owl has about 6 million HP. However, the second is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. Stunfisk, not really what we want to see. When we're in even energy, I safe switch into Sableye, and the opponent sends out Obstagoon. Big yikes. Obstagoon actually goes for the cross chop. So if you're wondering why I was playing these battles hungover, I wanted to rank up, so I wasn't too far behind everyone else, as when you're in the lower ranks, some people aren't aware of typings, which is fine. However, it's not great for making content. As the opponent did go cross chop, this allows Sableye to make one final Power Gem, which would actually allow us to win the Zero Shields. Obstagoon puts up a shield. As the opponent wants to maintain alignment, we're going to come into Nidoqueen. I'm going to tank all of this energy, commit to the Poison Jab farm down. The opponent's already down one shield, so I'm going to look to pressure the final shield with the Earth Power. The opponent again throws a cross chop. They then send out Pelipper. We send back out the Walrus. I know at this stage now we can tank a Rock Slide. If I save 2 shields for Nidoqueen, we're going to be able to get rid of the Flying Toilet. I'm going to look to throw the Earthquake on the CMP tie to the next Rock Slide. Earthquake vanquishes Stunfisk. Back to their Pokeball, back out comes Pelipper. We get off an Icicle Sphere. This is going to get this Pelipper deep into the yellow. So the opponent actually puts up the final protection. We come into Nidoqueen. I know I lose CMP, so I take the extra. We shield up the Weather Ball. The opponent already has the double. This time I do CMP tie him. We're going to commit both Protect Shields here. The first Poison Fang isn't going to be enough to knock out. However, we are going to win the race to the second. So in this battle, unfortunately, the opponent wasn't aware of typings. If they was, we would have took a loss. But either way, we're going to take the early season dub. GG's. So instead of playing these battles hungover, let's have a go at playing some drunk battles. Nidoqueen into Registeel, a pretty good matchup unless the opponent's on Flash Cannon. This opponent is on Flash Cannon, that does quite a lot of damage. Flash Cannon costs 70 energy or takes 14 turns, so you're going to see there are through 7 Poison Jabs. I look to CMP tie to the next Flash Cannon. Earth Power lands for big damage. We successfully get the CMP tie. I'm going to allow Nidoqueen to go down. We lose the Zero Shields, however we can now come into Sableye, Shadow Claw farm down, and we've got a running start. A lot of people always ask me how I count lock-ons. If I'm honest, I don't. I just count my own fast moves. So as I said, it took them 14 turns to make the Flash Cannon, so I just did 7 Poison Jabs, and that is how I successfully CMP tied. However, getting back into this battle, we're not in the best spot, as we did lose the opening matchup, and it looks like the opponent has the alignment that they want. Walrein versus Azumarill is pretty neutral in the 2 shields. I'm just going to commit both shields here, and I'm going to look to try and catch a charge with on Sableye. The opponent allows a second Earthquake to go through, but I'm absolutely going to be shielding this up. The opponent does full send the player off again. Switch timer has now popped up. I'm going to continue to overfarm. Azumarill is now in Icicle Sphere range. We force the final shield. With the Icicle Sphere, the opponent then throws a bubble, which allows me to get off the foul play, securing the knockout. Despite me now having Sableye versus Umbreon, it's now 2 versus 1. The opponent throws the foul play, Sableye does survive. I'm going to commit to the Power Gem, forcing the energy off the opponent. We're going to get taken out. It's now all down to Walrein. I come into Walrus. We're not quite in foul play range. Icicle Sphere has been buffed. However, I think I'm going to need an Icicle Sphere and an Earthquake to secure the knockout. I throw one more Powder Snow, despite being at 100 energy, just to maximise the amount of damage I can do. Icicle Sphere gets some low. We throw one more Powder Snow. We reach the Earthquake, and that is going to be all she wrote. In the next battle, we see Cresselia. A bit of a core breaker for this team, if I'm honest. The Psycho Cuts are hitting us for super effective. They're going to be having Grass Knot in the Great League, so Walrein doesn't want to see it, and the Moonblast will near one-shot our Sableye. The opponent lets me get off the Earth Power, which does do quite a lot of damage to the bulky Cresselia. The opponent does throw the Grass Knot. It's an easy tank for us. The opponent then going to dump all of their energy. Grass Knot takes care of Nidoqueen. I'm going to look to Shadow Claw farm them all the way down. The opponent sends out Dugong, so I'm going to look to catch the move on Walrein. The opponent shows great discipline, holding their energy, and then they even throw the Drill Run. Yikes, I can't believe they didn't masturbate me. Again, I'm not going to shield this up. We would still survive a Drill Run, but this time the opponent goes for a masturbating session. As they have lowered our attack, this Earthquake isn't going to be lethal from this range. It does still get them into the red. I'm not going to throw a double resisted Icicle Sphere. I'm going to force the opponent to Drill Run me. Drill Run does take me out. The opponent is now energy dry. They've got Umbreon in the back, and that's going to be game over. GG's. Moving on to the next one. The Nidoqueen Mirror. If you ever wanted to see a bait dependent matchup, this is it. The opponent doesn't even build up to the Earth Power. They go for the Poison Fang. That's an easy tank. The opponent then looks to catch an Earth Power onto a Azumarill, and we're just going to unload these Poison Fangs. The first one does big damage. We're already at the second. Is Azumarill going to be putting up a Protect Shield? No, they're not. The opponent completely sacks Azumarill. The opponent then sends back out Nidoqueen. They still need to Earth Power me, and again, this is a Poison Fang. Even though we're still debuffed, this won't knock out. We survive on minimal HP. I'm at the Earth Power. Does the opponent this time respect the damage? They do not. Nidoqueen running through the opponent's team. They've got knocked out in the back. We come in to Walrein, and the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. Nidoqueen into Metachan, the most meta basic bitch fighter of them all. I throw the Earth Power on a CMP tie to a potential Psychic. The opponent puts up a shield, and I'm going to call this as just an Ice Punch. The opponent did build up to the Psychic, but of course they go for the bait. This now forces the opponent to throw another Ice Punch. We're just going to allow Nidoqueen to go down. Sableye can now get a huge Shadow Claw farm down. The opponent sends out the Walrus. I look to sack. For some reason I get a stutter lag. You can see I hit the move, and despite us both using 2 turns, we get stuck in the middle of the Shadow Claw animation. So fuck it, I'm going to full send the Power Gem. The opponent shows no respect. We take him out. We know Metachan can't return, so they're going to be forced to show their third. The opponent sends out Knockdown, so I'm going to spam into Walrein as I'm not switch locked. The opponent's switch timer is probably around 15 or 20 seconds away, so I'm just going to build up as much energy as possible. I'm going to look to try and double up on charge moves. We throw the Icicle Sphere on the CMP tie. Icicle Sphere does get the final shield. I'm actually going to match shields here. We know Metachan is going to return. However, they're pretty much in Icicle Sphere range. I wait a turn. There's Metachan. We throw the Icicle Sphere. Icicle Sphere does secure the knockout. Back out. Comes Knockdown. They do manage to wing attack. Farm us down. However, we're going to win the race to the foul play. And that's going to be all she wrote. GG's. Heading into the next battle. Quagsire, big yikes. We say switch into Sableye, and the opponent sends out Jumpluff. Jumpluff so bulky. I doubt they put up a shield, so I'm going to full send the Power Gem, and this opponent, to my surprise, does shield. I'm just going to take shield advantage. The opponent actually goes for the Energy Ball. I think Acrobatics probably would have knocked us out. This allows us to make one more move. I do throw an alignment. However, you're going to see I'm not going to survive the Bullet Seed, so alignment was the correct play. We can now come into Nidoqueen. We're going to tank all of this energy and commit to the Poison Jab farm down. I really need to jab down before the next move. Nidoqueen does get the jab down. Back out comes Quagsire, attempt to catch the Mud Bomb, unsuccessful. I'm not fancying calling a bait here. I do put up a shield and the opponent full sends the Stone Edge. Walrein does have the higher attack stats, so I'm going to throw the Earthquake on the CMP tie. Hoping the opponent doesn't shield, they don't shield. This could be a Stone Edge. I am going to shield this up. Even if the opponent baits me, they're not going to make a Stone Edge. We shield up a Mud Bomb. The opponent's got a Bomber Snow in the back. Is this doable? Icicle Sphere should be pressuring the final shield. The opponent does commit that shield. You can see I'm looking to spam into Nidoqueen. The opponent actually throws before they've got an Energy Ball and a Weather Ball. Energy Ball takes me out. The opponent now has the energy for the Weather Ball. I need this Poison Fang to secure the knockout. Thank you so much, Niantic, for the buff. It does secure the knockout and we managed to resist it. Poison Jab down. Moving on to the next one. We see another buff Pokemon, Unova Stunfisk. Unlike the Galarian Stunfisk, this thing has access to Mud Bomb, so it's objectively got better this season. The opponent actually goes for the Discharge. I then throw the Foul Play on the CMP tie. The opponent commits the shield, so I'm going to match shields. We're just going to continue to throw on CMP. The opponent throws the Mud Bomb, so again I'm going to throw 4 CMP tie to the next Mud Bomb. This Foul Play won't knock up, but will get them super low. The opponent is now energy dry, so I'm just going to allow Sableye to go down. We should be able to Powder Snow farm them down before they make another move. The opponent isn't switch locked, so I'm going to wait out my full timer. We then come into Walrein. We get the Powder Snow farm down. Let's see what the opponent wants to come in with. They've got another electric, double electric. Interesting strategy. We know we tank 1 Surf with our Nidoqueen and we double resist the Spark. Surf does a lot of damage. The opponent now sends out a Azumarill. We're going to be able to lower this Azumarill's defense with the Poison Fang. The opponent commits that final shield. They then manage to bubble farm us all the way down. We come into Walrein. I know I survivor play rough, so I'm just going to save my shield for the potential Thunderbolt. However, this Azumarill actually threw after only 5 bubbles, which does mean it could only be a double resisted Ice Beam. We throw the Earthquake. Earthquake takes care of Azumarill. Back out comes Lantern. This is actually only a Surf, so despite me saving my shield, I'm not going to be investing it on a Surf. It's an easy tank for us. We've got the Earthquake locked and loaded, and Walrein is about to vanquish Lantern back to their Pokeball. GG's, and thanks for playing. So those were the battles with the newly buffed Poison Fang Nidoqueen and Icicle Sphere Walrein. They both do 5 more damage this season. So they have got a lot better than they was in previous seasons. They're not quite as good as they once were, as I think lower energy rather than more damage actually makes them a better overall pick, just because you're a bit more spammy. So after some time off, we are now back to getting some content out. Thanks to everyone for the support and the good wishes for my newly married sister. Huge congrats to both her and her partner. So we're going to try and catch up with some content. If you've got some great battles you'd like featured on the channel, a link to my battle submission form is down below. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you need another reason to subscribe, soon is going to be the Open Ultra League. And I've got an XL Shadow Sandslash and a Drift Blim that I'm going to be putting to work. So as always, thanks for watching and I will see you all in the next one.